Well. As I was going through my business in the interwebs, I came across a video or an article, whatever the case may be, talking about, the push for Africans to unite. How many countries are there in Africa? I suppose we have 50 plus countries in Africa. And this is a conversation, by the way, that has been had in so many different platforms, in so many different ways. Can Africa really unite and become one, or the push for really African countries to unite and become one? With the central leadership, where we have like one country, like as a capital with a supreme leader. I don't even know how that looks like, but you get the idea. Unity, like what they have in the US. We have the federal government, and we have the local government, the state government, and all that. Devolution. I actually don't know how that looks like in that vision, how they envision that looking like. But that's besides the point. This conversation has been had so many times. Can Africa really unite and become one with one currency? We do away with all these imaginary borders. Maybe you have one visa. We have what we call this trades amongst us, like in the East African bloc. You don't have to. We don't have visa requirements when you're doing state to state closings and doing businesses. Is it bilateral business or trade, whatever the case may be, whatever you want to call it? And well, it's a very interesting discussion to be had, and it's about time we actually have or had that discussion. Yeah. But where do we begin to unite people? First of all, Africa is a huge ass place. And with such a huge landmass, it means on its occupation, the occupants, we have so many different types of people. I haven't done research, but I heard that Africa has maybe over 3,000 languages. 3,000 languages spoken on the continent. So, assuming that each and every language has a people behind it, we have some tribe of people behind that particular language. It's going to be such a mammoth, such a Herculean task. Try to get all these people with different cultures, with different background, with different practices and traditions. All these, they say Africa is a melting pot of all these different cultures. It's going to be such a task to try to get all these tribes to unite. First of all, on a language front, given that these people speak 3,000 languages, over 3,000 languages, without counting the foreign languages like Anglophone, Francophone languages influenced by our colonizers and whatnot. Which language are you going to settle to be using across the borders and all that? Which is the official language that you're going to use? I mean, the idea sounds good, but I don't know how you're going to do that. So, do I think it's going to be done? I don't think so. At least not in my lifetime, not in our lifetime. Maybe long after we're gone, maybe after 400 years, 500 years, 1,000 years, and by then I don't see any hope because the Son of Man will have come back by then to take his people, take us to paradise. I don't know what, I'm just thinking out loud. I don't think it's gonna happen. It's hard enough to try to unite the tribesmen in a small country as ours. We still have tribal politics reigning supreme in our land. Mm. People, some tribes are still salty because they have never tasted power. They don't know how that feels like to have their kinsman in the reins of power. And others, when they see another man from a different tribe having power, they don't like it. They don't like it. It's tribal politics in a country of ours. Now combine all these countries. Post-colonialism, we got our independence about 6 decades ago. And still, we are having those colonial boundaries still in place, still in existence. They are enforced. Right now, if I'm Kenyan, if I wanted to go to Tanzania, if I wanted to go to Uganda, there is a visa requirement. Mandatory visa requirement. We haven't still addressed that. We haven't addressed that yet. So many years after we claimed self-rule, self-government, and all that. Now, how are we going to begin to unite the tribes in this small country of ours? We are still divided along tribal lines. Go to Uganda. How now do you unite uh, Kenya and Uganda, or Kenya with Tanzania? The other day, the richest man came here, and I don't know, he approached our president, or he had this utopian idea. It's a great idea to build a refinery. I don't know, it was in East Africa to have the biggest oil refinery in East Africa, so that he can address the fuel shortages, maybe to cut down on the cost and such like things. It was such a brilliant idea. I don't know why we have a discussion around it. And they couldn't agree on where it should be built. Both the three presidents of East Africa, Mama Samia, our president Ruto, and Ugandan president Yoweri Maguta, they couldn't agree. And now you're talking about uniting unity, African unity? It's still a pipe dream. I don't think it's going to happen. It can happen. I don't know under which lens we are going to view this, or how we are going to tackle it, or those people with the power, how they are going to do it, but I don't think it's going to be done. Not in my lifetime anyway, or at least. I want Africa to unite. And the last person who had that sentiment, what happened to him from Libya? Muammar Gaddafi. They called him a mad dog. They took him out. I heard he has this grand plan, this idea of unification Africa. Africa, where we have a central bank and we'll bank on gold. I don't know, we'll hold our currency. We'll have one currency, namely dinari or something. It will be traded against the dollar or some gold reserve. I don't know how how that economy works. I am not well versed on economy, but he had those ideas, and that man was doing great in his country. I heard that the Libyans had free education. He incentivized marriage. If you were a new couple that got wedded the other day, you had a free access to housing, school, healthcare, and so many other great things that he did. His legacy actually speaks for himself. But once the idea of the unification of Africa um, came into play, I mean, the big dogs, uh, the big guys, the big dogs came with guns blazing, and they took him out. And we all know what happened after that. Libya went to the dogs. Libya became shit. So we also have uh, we see what is going on in with Traore. Traore is from which country? Burkina Faso, right? He has these liberationary ideas, and as we speak right now, we have few attempts on his life. So how do we begin to unify Africa? I don't think it's going to happen. Now, with all these resources up for grabs, the world is watching, China is watching, America is watching, Europe is watching, everybody's just outside looking in. It's up for grabs, man. And China is making inroads so far uh, to try to do the second colonization. It's going to happen, it's inevitable. Mm. So the unification of Africa is going to be at the detriment of Africans, or of other people, not Africans. When Africa unites, it's not a good thing for other people who want to grab it for its rich in resources. So, do I think Africa will unite? Maybe someday, in a distant utopian future. But as for now, you can try. You can try and see how far you're going to go. And all I can say